Okay, that's recording. And you should see my audio down there. Make sure that's going. Okay, we got all the equipment set up. Any questions so far? Oh, that's good. Okay. Yeah, if there's anybody that can't hear me, you can sit closer, okay? And make sure everybody can see me too. And one of the screens, okay? Doesn't matter which one, they're all the same. So I bet I know what you're thinking. This is a new class, the first day, new topic, new instructor. I bet you feel a little stressed and you're asking yourself, have I made a good decision taking this course? And I want to answer that before I even get going. The answer is yes. And I'll tell you why. This is the best course I teach at Stanford. Of course, it's the only course I'm responsible for, so that makes it the best. And it's the best assistive technology course on campus because I think it's the only one, okay? And everybody who has taken this course has gotten a very good grade, but not everybody gets A's. There are some people that get A pluses, okay? All right? You may meet your love connection, but I don't necessarily mean a person. You could find this topic area interesting enough to do it professionally. I'll talk about this later. Maybe you're here for the fame and notoriety that this course brings. So I've been on the front page of Stanford webpage for, this is a long time ago. And whether or not you know it, you may be compelled to take this course because of the social good that I'm going to be talking about and then you're going to be doing. And I know that you and your parents want to know if all this money is going to be useful and be used to benefit others in the world, okay? So that's what we're going to do in the course. And this course will give you an opportunity to practice benefiting society, so that's a good thing. And there are job opportunities in this field as well that I'll talk about, and you'll meet people who do these kinds of things. You might have heard good things about the course, the guest lectures, the field trips, and of course nobody can forget the awesome fireworks at the end of the quarter. Okay, maybe you decided to take this course because it's something completely different, and it is, okay? But call me Dave. My name is Dave Jaffe. I'm not a professor, as I've told some people, and I'm not a medical doctor or don't have a PhD. And if you call me Mr. Jaffe, I think you'd be referring to my father, who coined the term partly sunny, okay? So that was him, but he was a lawyer. And if you're using my name, be sure to use the middle initial because there's been other David Jaffes at Stanford who I've met, and there's a David M. Jaffe who's a sophomore, and we just get emails mixed up all the time. So if you use my middle initial, we decided when I talked to the first David Jaffe that we'd use our middle initial to provide some uniqueness between us. So I went to University of Michigan, go blue, Northwestern, they're purple, and Stanford is cardinal, all right? And there's a picture of me when I was about your age, okay? That's, and I worked at the VA Medical Center, the one in Chicago, for about 5.5 years before I came out here, and I worked at the VA Medical Center down the road that we're going to visit on a field trip in a few weeks, and worked in an area called the Rehab Research and Development Center, okay? So my early passions, I think I wanted to be a scientist after watching Watch Mr. Wizard, which was in black and white, which was before you guys were born. I was an early home computer user. I always tell the story about a meeting that we had in Chicago where everybody in Chicago area who had a home computer was at, and the 10 of us sat around one table. So I've been doing that part for a long time. And here's my setup in 1978. Okay, so I'm pretty much the choreographer of this course. I make all the people connections, all the lecture connections, all the assistive technology fair connections and stuff like that. So actually, after this week, it's going to be pretty easy for me. So we're going to talk about the course, talk about assistive technology, talk about some projects, and have some pictures from last year's classes, so you'll have an idea of what to expect, because that's stressful if you don't know what to expect. So welcome to the class. As you can see, there's lots of students. I think I have about 40. There's some people here from the Stanford community and the outside community. They'll be here every day, and some of these people have disabilities, and they're just a great asset to have because they just add to the conversation. So, I want to talk about the forms and packet that you got. Everybody should have in their packet a class session evaluation form. It's a half-page thing on the bottom. Please fill that out to evaluate me. There'll be one of these every class session. It's very important for you to fill out the pink attendance sheet. That way I can credit your being here, because because that's a requirement for the course to attend the class sessions. There's a one-page double-sided questionnaire about your motives for taking the course, and for you to figure out, tell me what's important for you. And if you're a community member who hasn't got my newsletter, you can fill out to get that newsletter on another handout. So these are some students from previous classes who have all won student design competitions. This is what you can achieve in this class. And at this time, I want to mention, and it looks like everybody has put their laptops and smartphones away. There'll be a dedicated break time for you to use that, but just don't use it during class time, because the guest lecturers, you may be on the laptop and you may be here physically, but your brain is someplace else, and it'd be good for you to be here all the time. Okay, so the course came about as a way to give some students background on assistive technology as they were doing their senior capstone projects back in 2006. And it's been ongoing ever since. This is the 13th year, so I think I'm getting pretty good at it. The objective of the course, the top objective, is to give you confidence in applying all the knowledge you're getting at Stanford to address the problems in the world. And confidence comes from practicing things. If you practice something and you know how to do it, then you have confidence in doing it again. And it's really important for you guys, because you're Stanford students. You guys are going to rule the world and solve all the world's problems. And you can't expect Cal students to do that. So we're counting on Stanford grads to do that. So we're going to be focusing a lot on critical thinking, communication skills, working together as a team, working in the community, and learning about the design development of technology that helps people with disabilities and older adults. And it's really a chance for you to practice your leadership and organization skills, because they're going to be required once you get out of Stanford. Okay, I guarantee it. I talked about these things: problem solving, working in a team, public service. This kind of course is called a service learning course, where you do things outside Stanford in the community. And we're going to go through a design process for students who are working on projects that includes designing, fabricating, testing, analyzing, and refining. And of real importance are enhancing communication skills, because I don't care what field you're in, what your major is. Once you get out, you're going to find yourself communicating, whether it's writing reports or doing presentations or teaching a class or whatever. So this is really important. And these are things you just can't learn from a book. You have to practice them, just like cooking and stuff like that. If you love doing homework and problem sets and taking quizzes, exams and stuff, this is the wrong course for you. Okay? Any complaints? Okay. If you like buying textbooks and going through them chapter by chapter, we're not going to do that. If you enjoy hearing my voice all the time, I'm not going to be the only one up here. There'll be lots of guest lecturers who have very interesting things to say. So I'll be here, but the guest lecturers will have the main part of the material. So we're going to be talking about things that really have practical applications in your life, okay? And I'm sure everybody here already has knowledge and the proficiency to study and take exams, so we're not going to concentrate on that at all, okay? And once you get out in the real world, you don't take exams. And we're not going to do any highlighting at all. In fact, I actually discourage you from taking notes, okay? Because it'd be better for you to be present in the moment. And if you like having somebody at a blackboard doing equations and derivations and stuff like that, and doing equations, we're not going to do that either. We're not going to do any whiteboard stuff. And this may be the only equation you'll see. This isn't a D-School course. It's not a course in design thinking or design impact. There's other courses that do that, or in product design. It's not about just good ideas and post-it notes. It's not about starting a company or manufacturing or marketing or things like that. It's not. The projects are not with big companies. Like I said, there's no finals, no books to buy. There'll be some reading for you to do over the weekend, but it'll take like 5 minutes. What this course is about the intersection of technology and people, and about assistive technology and how it can help everybody. And there's an engineering design development process that I've refined for students working on projects and assistive technology projects. But it's not exactly like design thinking. We're going to be working in teams, working in the community, and this will be a preview of how you're going to be spending your professional life. Don't be scared. Okay. Course is, like I said, a certified service learning course, which is a cardinal course. It's approved for ME, undergrad, and grad, and it's also approved for STS. I know there's a bunch of STS students here. Thank you for coming. Humbile and symbolic systems and LDT, and it was labeled a Save the World course. But so there's two phrases I've seen, like save the world and change the world. I'd like to get your opinion on which is the more accurate phrase. Save the world? Change the world? Okay. If it was save the world, how many people would you have to save in order to save the world? The answer? Do you have an answer? Everyone? You have to save everyone? That's a tall order. Actually, that's the opposite. If you save one person, you save the world. It depends on who that person is. You never know, right? So we're going to be, a lot of the projects are with one person. So you shouldn't feel that, this is, you're not doing enough for society. If you're just helping one person, you're doing a lot, okay? So we meet twice a week, and most of it is be exploring assistive technology through guest lecturers. We're going on a couple field trips. We have a film screening and an assistive technology fair, and there'll be chances for questioning, thought, reflection, and discussion. So I like to get your participation in all this, so I know that you're thinking about it. And for students who are working on projects, there's a design experience that includes the design process that I mentioned, and working in the local community. Yeah, so your experience should be, you're going to be gaining an appreciation for developing assistive technologies, and there's a whole wide range of it, not just engineering, but there's social, medical, and technical things. And you're going to learn about the assistive technology as it relates to the intersection of people and technology. You'll see how that fits in. For students working on a project, talk about the design experience, and this is also a chance for engineers to use their skills to work on a project and come up with something that's really functional. Okay, so like I said, it's a preview of what you're going to be doing in the future. Okay, and the reason I've sort of focused on this is that when I went to school, nobody told me as an engineer I'd be doing, like teaching, doing this and needing these communication skills and writing skills and stuff like that. So I'm giving you the opportunity to get those skills, to practice those skills here, because you're going to be using them all the time. So there's a very flexible enrollment option that you know about. You can take the course for 1 unit, and if you attend 10 lectures and write your name down on the attendance sheet, you'll get 1 credit unit. If you need a letter grade, you work on a small individual project, which I'll talk about. For 3 units, you come to all the lectures, and you participate in a team project. And there's actually ways for you to carry on that team project into the spring quarter through an independent study course that I've done, and you can ask Kevin how that worked out for him last quarter. You need to be in mechanical. No, anybody can take that course for a negotiated number of units. Project activities include reviewing the project descriptions, which you have in your handout. On Thursday, you're going to be pitched all these projects, and you're going to be selecting a project, forming a team, and then once you have your project, you're going to investigate the problem and try to get a full understanding of what the problem is, because that's really critical in coming up with a solution. If you don't know what the problem is, you're not going to succeed in coming up with a solution. So that's really important. So you're going to gather information not just from the person who pitched or suggested a project, but from online and from people who do this kind of work, and the internet and stuff like that. You can go through the typical design process where you brainstorm, evaluate, choose design concepts, and figure out which one's the best. And then comes the fabrication part where you prototype, test it, analyze what you've done, and refine it until the time runs out at the end of the quarter. Okay. And you're going to present your team's design. There's a midterm and final presentations and reports, and then reflect on the experience at the end of the quarter. So the projects are actually a people building exercise more than a technology building exercise, and it can work either by having a technology first that you try to see how it can be applied to people with disabilities or older adults, or the problem. So sometimes you have a person who has a problem and you try to figure out how to solve the problem for them. Okay, and the things that you're going to be doing are basically 8-week prototypes. You can prototype forever, until the money runs out or the time runs out. So some of the solutions may be low-tech, some of them may involve microprocessors, but you'd be working typically with one person, and benefiting that one person is fine. And that's actually pretty good, because you have one person to test it on, one person to get feedback from, and that person is available to you. Whereas if you had to make a project that would be a product for lots of people, I mean, how many people would you have to talk to until you get a good idea of the problem? So working with one person is actually better. And the important thing is experiencing this process. And your team is like a startup with your members, resources, deadlines, budget. So if you're thinking about being in a position where you're going to be in a company position working in a team, this is sort of the exact same thing, but 10 weeks. And of course, teams need a team name, a logo. You need a name for the project, you need a name for the device, and maybe a catchphrase. So think about doing that. There are some reasons that maybe you should not consider working on a team project this quarter. If you're not graduating, you'll have an opportunity to take more classes. And I guess the largest number of people that I have are seniors. So you only have one chance to work on the project, and you'd be doing a better job if you have more courses under your belt, especially ones that like ME 203 that you can do shop stuff. If you have limited fabrication experience, you may want to wait or you may want a team with somebody who has that experience. But everybody has something to bring to the project. So if you don't have fabrication experience, you still need to be involved. You still need to participate as a team member. If you're taking another project course, this is really important. It's really not good to take 2 project courses in 1 quarter. And some of you know about that, and so I'm just reiterating it, because that can drain you for both courses. So if you're taking any one of these courses, you can consider working on a small project or taking it as a seminar. And then there's actually a way where you can take the course twice, where the first time you take it for 1 unit, and then later on you can take it for 2 units. And 3 students have done that already. Okay, so you can take it twice. Okay? If you're on the wait list, I hope things will work out, and I think I have a way to get everybody enrolled. So we'll see how that pans out over the next couple weeks. If you're unable to devote 4 hours a week for the project, then that may be an issue as well, because that's how much time students say they spend on their project. Okay, I don't know if they're overestimating it, for my sake or not, but you need to have time during the week to meet together with your team and work on the project. Okay. Again, if you work on a team project, the deliverables are midterm presentation, final presentation and reports, and communicating and meeting with me during the quarter to make sure you're on the right track. So I'll be your instructor and coach, and I'm here to make this a really good experience for you. So there's no, I'm on your side. I'm on everybody's team. Okay, so it'd be great if everybody did a great job. It would really, you'll feel good and I'll feel good, and that'd be great. And at the end, there's a reflection report to write. For people working on individual projects, it's pretty much the same, except you get to choose your own project. And in the packet, there's a list of projects. And if you have an idea for a project, you can suggest it to me, and I can approve it or not. Okay. And here's the grading percentages. Now, part of this I really want to emphasize is the participation. And so you participate by meeting with me, by asking questions, even if they're silly questions, and just being a part of the class and the team. Engaging in class discussions. There'll be lots of time for that. Same thing for individual projects. I mentioned the option to work on continue your project as independent study, or if you're not working on a project and you want to do independent study in another quarter, we can have that arranged. If you're a mechanical engineering student, undergrad, who's not graduating, there's a program called SURI, which basically gives you a stipend to work in a lab over the summer. So that's a really good deal. I think it's like $5,000 or $6,000 you get. So that can be arranged too. During the class, at the beginning, before the guest lecturer comes in, I'll be talking about short topics, about 10 or 15 minutes each, and lots of interesting ones. Antique technology, upside of failure, who is disabled, accessibility, things like that. Here are some of the people that you're going to see as guest lecturers. And a lot of these people I have back every year because they do such a good job presenting. And so since the students are different every year, they don't know that I'm repeating this, but I'm telling you, these are people who know their stuff and have interesting presentations. The lecture titles, Thursday will be project pitches, team formation. Have need finding coming up next week, and we're going to be, Debbie's going to talk about, she's an occupational therapist, and she's going to be talking about things from her point of view. We have a couple. sessions on exoskeletons, and one on prosthetics, one on a case study bringing a product to market from a design competition to the market to being on Amazon. We have a couple field trips to the VA Medical Center and also to the Magical Bridge Playground. So that's going to be exciting. You don't want to miss that. Talk about cochlear implants. We'll have an assistive technology fair. It'll be in here and maybe out on the patio. There'll be a movie screening. And these are all going to be really interesting stuff for you. So the lectures are chosen for their interest, and the presenters have very good presentation techniques, and they may not talk about your particular project, so don't be upset because of that. And sometimes a guest lecturer I might run over, but I'll give you an opportunity to leave on time because I know you got to get to dinner or wherever you're going. So there'll be an opportunity for leaving at that time, and maybe you can stick around later. We have this room is actually the next class is at 6:30 or 7 o'clock, so we have this room afterwards if you want to have meetings here or meet with me. Also, before the class, starting at about 3:30, this room is also vacant, so it's another opportunity to meet with me or meet with your team here. So just found out about that today. So I'll send you most every Friday a set of an email that will list things that you should be doing, administrative stuff, and also have links to a bunch of interesting articles that I find. So if this sounds good, stick with it. If you want to tell your friends about it, that's great. But I think we're sort of over budget on the team project. So anybody who wants to take the course for one unit or work on an individual project, or if there's a particular kind of lecture that may be of interest to them, you can invite them to come. We've got lots of chairs and stuff. So any questions up to this point? Okay, you know everything. Okay, I want you, I'm trying this out. I want you to put yourself in the position of a person who's a silly person who only asks silly questions. So you can say, I don't have a question from you, but a silly person I know has this question for me. So think about doing that, because I mean, I know it's tough to have students, speak up because they're maybe embarrassed or afraid or whatever. But if you cast yourself as a silly person, maybe that's a way to get around it. So are there any silly questions? Okay. So what we're going to do now is to have a little bit of a break, and this is a chance for you to get on your phones and stuff. And if you haven't signed in, do so. If you haven't picked up your packet of information, now's the time for you to do it, and we'll be back in 5 minutes. Okay, thanks.